Culture kings, but not the shop, it's us. Someone has let Thomas and myself loose on the podcast. This could be dangerous. Today we're going to talk about culture, man. And I feel like you and I, we both have similar values around that. Why don't you start us off? What is culture?
Well, culture's just your all-round vibe, I reckon. Your all-round team vibe. It can be anything, like how you interact with your team, how you hold yourself, the way in which you work. It can be multiple different things, but I think it's best summed up as your environment.
A key saying that we like to say is when we're setting culture is culture comes from the top. And the top is essentially you, the business owner. It's whoever your senior staff members are. With your guys, do you see a definite reflection, like are they similar to you in how you behave?
Yes. Now? Yes. Yeah. It's never always been sunshine and rainbows. I can be pretty honest about that. When you're stressed out and when you're flying off the handle or you're just all around grumpy, your team feed off that. You can't expect them to be happy-go-lucky and motivated and wanting to improve if you're not the same. So for me, it's been a really, not a long process, but it's constantly changed.
And it's a learning curve as well. It doesn't just happen. It needs to be set. And sometimes you do actually have to have the conversation of, that's not on, we don't do that, that's not okay. It's how you approach that as well. Even that is your culture. You know, it takes one person who's going to come in and be in a grump, and that negative attitude, it spreads, it's toxic, and you see it really quickly affect the rest of your team. And if that's happening day in, day out, that's what your company is going to be like. That is your new culture. Because the toxic culture is so much stronger than the positive culture.
That's stupid.
It does just seep out.
Being able to bring your team into that decision making of what the culture is going to be. You know what I mean? Like you can be happy-go-lucky, like you say, but it's not going to reflect unless you're doing these things as a team day in, day out to reflect those behaviors. A big one that I've noticed, and this come down to myself included, early on, like what would you say to the guys that think culture's like not important when they're smaller? You know, the guys that say, oh, I don't have a team. It's just me and my apprentice and one tradie. That's a team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even if it's you and an apprentice, that's a team. There's still culture that needs to be nurtured there. What would you recommend to those guys?
Start now. Like start looking at what your culture is. It may only be you and one other guy, but that one other guy is looking up to you on how to behave. What do you reckon one of the biggest challenges you came across in your business during attempting to set culture? Like, do you get pushbacks?
I feel like it's, like you say, like culture's made, it's not dictated. There'd be things that I would say like, yep, cool, we're going to do this from now on. But if you haven't communicated that with your team, like for example, sales, there's some of my guys that don't like to sell stuff. And that's fine. At the end of the day, you're a sparky, you're an electrician. I just expect that. But there's some guys that absolutely love sales and want to do that, you know, up sales and things like that. But demanding that as someone and saying like, yep, cool, this is all that we do now might not fit in around what they want to do outside of this. So I think that was one of my biggest challenges, being able to accept certain people were good at certain things and just setting targets in different ways. So the guys that like selling, they get rewarded for selling. The guys that don't like selling, they might be quicker at doing jobs. They might run projects more efficiently and they should be rewarded for that. Like you wouldn't just reward one party.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being flexible is the best way to avoid a pushback. Times have changed. People realize you don't have to yell at someone to get what you need. You don't have to throw your hammer across the side just to get your point across. You can actually have a conversation with someone as a person, as a human being, and you get better results than if you had a temper tantrum.
It's just personal progression within yourself, like adopting these principles and trying to put that sort of thing in place. It's just rewarding as an individual. You can take those culture setting tips and tricks home into your personal life.
Yeah,
like
sure.
In doing this with my team, I've now been able to communicate better with my partner, with my friends, with my family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I think that's about all I've got to say about culture. What about yourself? You got any other points to make?
Take a breather, take a step back,
Yeah.
Establish what you want out of your team and make it happen. Like it's your dream, it's your team.
Yep.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork.
Like we said, culture comes from the top. So if you want that teamwork to make the dream work, you set that from the top.
Well said, brother.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
See you later.
Bye.